What's going on, my homies? Jolt here from TheTokenMinorities, and I am back with the Week 6 Battle of GBA Season 9, where your KC Jirachiefs are taking on Necro Stevo, the coach of the Victorian Shadows. Make sure to go check out Necro's channel, as well as his side of this match. He's going to be linked down in the description below, as always. Really like the guy, a super high-quality guy just in general, and I think you'll love his voice in particular if you haven't checked out his battles before. But with that said, let's go ahead and dive on into the team preview here. Now, if you haven't already checked out the team builder for this matchup, make sure to go check that out. It's going to be linked down in the description below. I am bringing the Mew, Alolan Ninetales finally in this matchup, the Manaphy, Magearna, Groudon, and the Mega Aerodactyl, as you can see, as Necro decided to bring the Xerneas, Alakazam, Fortress, Mega Charizard X, Mienshao, and the Tentacruel. So some pretty notable threats that he opted to not bring in this matchup. At the top of that list is the Landers T, which was a Z captain on his team. I am absolutely blown away that he opted to not bring the Lando T, and I'm a-okay with it as well. I did prep very heavily for it, but just not having to really worry about, you know, basically sacking a Pokemon to prevent setup is definitely nice in this game, as I'm already going to pretty much have to do that to deny setup from the Mega Charizard X. So anyway, just really nice to not see the Landers T, but that doesn't mean his team is any less threatening, as he did bring a lot of big threats too. I really didn't expect to see the Alakazam or the Mienshao in this matchup, and you know, just kind of based upon the sets that Necro Stevo decided to bring, I really should have expected something like this, because they put in a lot of work against me, or could put in a lot of work against me here in this particular game. But just to very briefly summarize the team that I'm bringing, this is an Aurora Veil offense team, the first time really bringing Aurora Veil this season. I have set up Manaphy, I have set up Magearna with Shift Gear, and I have set up Groudon with Rock Polish, and then my Stealth Rocker is the Mew, and my Defogger this week actually is my Mega Aerodactyl, just to help make sure that stuff like Sticky Webs or Hazard Stack from the Fortress weren't able to beat me down here in this game. So in terms of the lead matchup, I always plan to lead off with my Mew, as it has the moveset necessary to be able to basically counter lead, I think, every single Mon that he could have possibly brought, or any single Mon that he could have tried to lead with here in this matchup. Some matchups obviously better than others, but it has something it's able to do pretty effectively against any of those possible lead options that he may have had. So with that said, we are going to lead off with the Mew. We're going to try to win this game probably with the Groudon, or with the Manaphy, or with the Magearna. A lot just depends on how he plays this game. Because he did not bring the Lando T, that does make the Groudon a much bigger threat against his team. Can't stress that enough. Groudon can put in so much work here with my coverage on Stone Edge, Precipice, Blades, Fire Punch. Look at his team, think about that coverage. He doesn't have switch into that. So we're going to try to win this game with Groudon. If nothing else, at least break through him with Groudon to the point where something like my Manaphy or Magearna can win in the late game. So with that said, let's go ahead and dive right on into this game. So of course, good luck to Necro Stevo, as he is going to issue the challenge. And like I said, I'm going to lead off with the Mew, as he opts to lead off with the Xerneas. Now, Xerneas is definitely a very difficult Pokemon to deal with. Obviously, it's a Tier 1 Uber. It can do so many things. It can do so much damage to my team. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to stay in against this thing and just fire off a Thunder Wave. I know I can take any one hit against this. Even if he goes for like I think a Specs Moonblast has a small chance to knock me out if he's modest. I don't expect him to be Specs or modest. So I'm just going to go for the Thunder Wave as he goes into Tentacruel, and I'm going to miss the Thunder Wave. Not the biggest deal in the world, because it is just a Tentacruel. Most likely it's not going to be a very fast variant, but we'll see if that comes into play, as I'm just going to go for the Super Fang now, knowing that it's a free 50% of damage off on whatever he wants to go into. I do have the Stealth Rock on this Mew, but I'm not going to go for it quite yet. I want to try to get this Fortress weakened down first, as Fortress is just one of the, I guess, the bulkier, more annoying Pokemon on his team, and being able to weaken this down really helps out my Magearna, considering I don't have any coverage on Magearna that hits the Fortress neutrally. All the moves I decided to bring are not very effective against Fortress, so if I can get this thing whittled down with my Mew, that would be really nice here. But he does reveal the Pain Split, which I thought was a really cool bring on his part. I definitely did not anticipate Pain Split Fortress. I'm not gonna lie, I actually forgot it learned Pain Split, so that was a really cool bring there on his part, able to get his health back up with the Fortress. Now here, expecting him to try to Rapid Spin away my Stealth Rock if he does have the Rapid Spin. I'm going to to make an offensive switch into my Groudon, again, knowing that it really doesn't have switch-ins to this. So I'm just going to go for the Fire Punch. I know there's a pretty decent chance that he has the Aqua Berry on this set, but just in case he didn't, I felt like this was overall my best offensive play, as he does reveal to have the Aqua Berry, and he's going to get off a good chunk of damage, actually, with that Pain Split. That was a lot of damage I did not want to take with my Groudon, but fortunately, because he didn't bring the Landorus T, I don't really have to use Groudon to take hits necessarily from other members of his team. So it's not the end of the world. We can still play this as an offensive win con later on, but here he's going to go into his Alakazam. Now, if this is a Choice Scarfed, Focus Sashed Alakazam, I should be able to go into my Mew here, expecting the Psychic or the Energy Ball, and his attack should guarantee put me in range of my Papa Berry that I am holding, which may be able to take me outside of range of a potential Shadow Ball. That was my thought process. However, he does knock me out with the Energy Ball, which reveals he is probably or definitely a Life Orb Alakazam. So I know my Mega Aerodactyl can immediately check this without having to fear a potential Focus Sash on this set. So I am just going to Mega Evolve and go for the Stone Edge. He really doesn't have a safe switch into this, as his Fortress is gone. He decided not to bring the Landorus T, so I know he really can't switch into this easily. So I'm just going to go ahead and fire it off, as he does decide to sack the Alakazam. Now I am packing the Defog on this Mega Aerodactyl. Rocks are really important for me in this matchup for dealing with the Zard, but I don't think I can win this game if he has the Rocks and the Spikes up on my side of the field. So I am going to take this opportunity as he goes into his Mienshao to go ahead and set up a Defog, as I think I should be able to take any hit from this according to the damage calc on Showdown. But fun fact, it doesn't end up mattering on this turn as he goes for the Substitute, but on the following turn, we'll see that it actually does end up mattering, as I'm going to go for a Taunt with my Aerodactyl here to prevent him, just in case he is like a sub Baton Pass Mienshao. I thought that was definitely an option he could bring, especially after seeing sub and leftovers. It's not really a common set on Mienshao, but I thought I'd also be able to take this Reckless High Jump Kick based upon the Showdown calc. But apparently the standard calc for Mienshao on the Showdown damage calc is like a uninvested, like non-attack invested Assault Vest Mienshao. So that's very interesting. That must be a lower tier set that I'm not familiar with. But yeah, I miscalculated that, and I did go down there. I think I probably would have sacked anyways, though, so not the end of the world. As what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this as my opportunity to go into my Alolan Ninetales and set up the Aurora Veil, as this definitely looks like it's going to be my prime opportunity to be able to do that at this stage in the game, and it should also give me a chance to break his Substitute with my Freeze Dry on this Alolan Ninetales, while of course having the Aurora Veil up here for the late game that I'm trying to set up. As at this point, with the Aurora Veil up, once I break this thing's Substitute, I think my Groudon can really start to put in some damage against his team. He's letting a lot of his Mons go down at this point. I think 2 of them at this point, and being able to basically become that big threat behind Aurora Veil with a Rock Polish up, which is what I'm about to go for here with my Groudon, just can be really good here in the late game. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go into my Groudon to set up the Rock Polish, and if he wants to stay in and get some damage off on me, he can, but I don't think he's going to anyways, because Mienshao has really proven to be a massive threat to my team with those high jump kicks doing so much damage. But first he's going to go for the Substitute just to scout out what I'm going to go for, which is totally fine. I can understand that play. It helps him to potentially waste some turns of my Aurora Veil as well, so that's a solid play on his end. As I am going to set that up, and I'm going to go for a Fire Punch now because I know it's going to guarantee break his sub, and he's probably just going to go for a high jump kick on this turn to get a little damage off on me. And as you can see behind the Aurora Veil, that does very little, as Groudon is quite fat, to say the least. As here I'm just going to go for the Precipice Blades because I don't really expect him to try to go hard into the Charizard on this turn. I know that's definitely an option he could go for, but if he goes into the Charizard, he has to play yet another mind game between potential for Stone Edge and Precipice Blades from the Groudon. So I do just go for the Precipice Blades here, kind of expecting him to sack off the Mienshao, but he actually decides to go into the Tentacruel trying to catch the Fire Punch, which I did not predict, but that works out really well for me as that gets rid of another one of his checks, his last really remaining, okay, he has the Charizard as well, but one of his last 2 checks to my Magearna, as now Magearna's looking really solid for a potential late game win con. As here it's a 50-50, he's not forced to Mega Evolve his Charizard, but I figured that he would probably stay non-Mega Evolved just to make sure that he at least has the chance of dodging a Stone Edge if I were to go for that. I hadn't even revealed to have it yet, and he very well could have considered me to be like a Double Dance Groudon set, so he could have stayed un-Mega Evolved. Unfortunately, I get that 50-50 wrong, as if I would have gotten that one right, I think Groudon would have definitely would have killed the Charizard, and then it would have weakened the incoming Xerneas as well. So that could have been really big, but he wins that 50-50. But here I'm just going to go into my Manaphy. I still have the Aurora Veil up. I'm able to set up a Tail Glow, which is also really good here at this point in the game, is what this is showing potentially, is that my Manaphy might actually be naturally faster than this Charizard. This might be an Adamant Charizard, which would make my Manaphy faster, and I am able to knock it out now with a +3 Surf, leaving him with just his Xerneas, which we don't know it's set yet, as well as his Mienshao in the back. So the Mienshao is definitely going to be able to outspeed me. If this can outspeed me, I should be able to 2-hit KO the Xerneas, but he does reveal to have the Thunder, and he reveals to outspeed my Manaphy, as that does a lot of damage to me. Fortunately, no paralysis. We are going to be able to get off a big Surf, but now knowing this is a Choice Scarf Xerneas, I know my Magearna can very easily set up on this thing if he knocks me out here with the with another Thunder, and when my Magearna comes in, it's going to be able to click Shift Gear and then Iron Head the remainder of his team. He does actually miss the Thunder, though, against my Manaphy, so I'm going to be able to live to see another day, and I'm just going to go straight for the Surf and knock out the Xerneas before it's able to get any kills against me this game. So that's always nice. The Tier 1 Uber wasn't able to get kills, but it was able to still be a massive threat as always. So now he's going to go into his Mienshao. Now what's interesting about this is I'm actually a little bit concerned, because if you guys watch the team builder, you would know that my Magearna is actually a minus defense nature without very much bulk investment at all. I'm actually not positive if I can live this hit. I decided not to calc it because it's going to come down to that no matter what. I didn't calc it, so I was basically in the moment terrified that I'm going to go down to this reckless high jump kick. I'm going to go straight for a Shift Gear as he opts to go for the Substitute. Again, a very nice play on his part, just in case I was only a Fluor Cannon set as my only real option to be able to hit him. That would have caused my special attack to lower, would have given him a better chance to win. But I do just go for the Shift Gear, and I have almost max attack with Iron Head on this set, so I know I'm going to be able to knock him out if I can live this high jump kick from the Mienshao. But again, I'm a minus defense nature. I don't know for sure if I can live this hit. We're going to find out right here. High jump kick is coming out. Magearna is going to live on 26 HP. Magearna clutching it out. I'm going to be able to outspeed the Mienshao here on the final turn of the game with an, I think, hasty Iron Head, and knock out the Mienshao. We are going to escape with a 1-0 victory over the Victorian Shadows, coached by Necro Stevo. So very good game to Necro. I thought he played that game super well. There's a couple small things we both could have done a little bit differently that might have changed how the game played out, but in terms of that end game, that's about as close as it gets. In all honesty, I don't know what the roll was on that high jump kick. I believe I probably was guaranteed to survive just based upon surviving. I think at 26 HP, that'd be a pretty big damage swing. But even so, that was a very, very close ending. If I let him keep that spike up earlier on in the game, I think I probably would have lost. So Aerodactyl really came in clutch in the mid game, being able to get off that defog, remove that spike that would have otherwise been detrimental to our team here this week. But we're able to bounce back, so that's awesome. Picking up now the 4th win of the season. We're 4-2. I believe we are in 2nd place in our division, but we still have a game ahead of us later on in the season against Cybertron, who's currently ahead of us in the division. So definitely looking forward to that one. Once again, great game to Necro Stevo. Make sure to check out his side of the match on his channel. That's probably up now, so make sure to go look at that. But yeah, so next week we have a game against Deathly, the coach of the Tennessee Trubbish. He's not having the best season in the world, but that doesn't mean he's not a threat. He has some Pokemon on his team that are really threatening against mine. He has some really solid fire offense, if I remember correctly, like Kyurem White and Volcarona, so he's got some pretty spooky threats that I'll have to be careful about how I prep for them, as, you know, those fire threats kind of mean I have to run stuff like Stone Edge and Rock Slide on some of my Mons, and we know how that can go, so I gotta be kind of careful about that. But anyways, that is it for this week. Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure to let me know what you think about the team, or what you think about the battle, rather, in the comments below, and of course, make sure to answer the question of the day as well, which is, what do you think about Aurora Veil in draft format? This was my first ever game, I think, period, Yeah, my first ever game in Pokemon where I've used Aurora Veil on my team. It's crazy, right? It's my first time ever using it, and it was kind of cool. It made setup a lot easier. It does what it was supposed to do. It's able to help me like take hits better and get off those setup moves with ease, and it was devastating, honestly. It was a game changer in this matchup for sure, so shout out to Ninetales as well for doing its job so well. But anyways, thanks for watching, guys. Let me know what you think about that in the comments below, and I will see you all next week. Peace.